The Sky Fortress. When you're worth over $200 billion, privacy stops being a preference and becomes a survival strategy. Every step, every word, every blink of a billionaire like Elon Musk is tracked, dissected, and shared across the digital world in seconds. His life isn't just public, it's a form of mass entertainment. So the question becomes simple but chilling. How do you travel when the entire planet wants to know where you're going? Welcome to Frostline Economics, where we follow incentives, not slogans. Today we're climbing 35,000 feet above the noise to uncover the airborne fortress that protects one of the most watched men alive. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and hit like. It helps serious work travel farther than rumors ever could. For Elon Musk, secrecy doesn't happen underground. It happens in the sky. His solution is called the Sky Fortress, a fleet of aircraft so advanced and so meticulously maintained that it functions as both a boardroom and a bunker. The crown jewel is a Gulfstream G650R, a $70 million machine built not just for comfort, but for control. Its range stretches 7,500 nautical miles, enough to connect Austin to Tokyo without refueling. Enough to put distance between Musk and the world whenever he needs silence to think. Plan or disappear. Inside, this isn't just a jet. It's a command center with wings. A private stateroom replaces the typical luxury suite. There's a full galley for gourmet meals, a meeting space where billion-dollar decisions unfold at cruising altitude, and avionics so advanced they make turbulence feel like background noise. Every inch of this aircraft reflects a design philosophy that isn't about showing off. It's about staying operational while staying unseen. But here's where the story shifts from wealth to warfare. Because in the modern world, privacy is no longer something you buy. It's something you fight for. And the battlefield is digital. Anyone with determination can now track private jets in real time. Flight data is public, global, and unforgiving. It tells you when an aircraft departs, how fast it's flying, and exactly where it's headed. That's a nightmare for someone like Musk, who lives inside a hurricane of adoration and hostility. Some people love him like a prophet. Others threaten him like a target. For both, data has become a weapon. To fight back, Musk adopted a tool from the Federal Aviation Administration known as the Privacy ICAO Address Program, or PIA. It's a bureaucratic term for digital invisibility. Under this system, aircraft can use temporary registration numbers that obscure their real identity, effectively scrambling their movements in the eyes of trackers. For Musk, this was the perfect cloak for critical flights, meetings with world leaders, AI lab visits, or politically sensitive trips that didn't belong on the front page. Throughout 2024, he reportedly used these stealth registrations 17 times, most notably on election night and during travel to ex-AI facilities. Those weren't casual excursions. They were precision operations, moments when the cost of being seen outweighed the benefit of transparency. But even with all that sophistication, total secrecy remains an illusion. A college student armed with nothing more than curiosity and code managed to track him anyway. Jack Sweeney, a 20-year-old aviation enthusiast, created an account called Elon Jet. It automatically posted the real-time location of Musk's planes, turning one man's private schedule into global entertainment. It was a collision between free data and fragile privacy. And when Musk acquired Twitter, now X, one of his first controversial moves was to ban the Elon Jet account entirely. It wasn't just about control. It was a declaration that even billionaires can't win against the physics of information. Here's the truth most people miss. Secrecy at that level isn't about hiding forever. It's about staying unpredictable long enough to stay safe. In 2024 alone, Musk's fleet logged 355 flights and 881 hours in the air. That's more than 36 days of his life spent literally inside the sky. And those hours weren't wasted. They connected him to nearly every major node of his empire. Starlink launches in Indonesia, Olympic meetings in France, supply chain visits in China, and discreet political gatherings in Florida, not far from Mar-a-Lago. Each flight tells a story of movement as power, of a man who governs by presence. Supporting the flagship are two Gulfstream G550s, one registered as N502SX and another as N272BG. They handle shorter hops between Tesla and SpaceX facilities. One is nearly 2 decades old, but upgraded with Rolls-Royce engines and next-generation avionics. The other carries military-grade vision systems that allow it to operate in almost any condition. Together, they form a winged relay system keeping Musk mobile, reachable, and secure. And then there's the next chapter already waiting in hangars. a Gulfstream G700, ordered in 2022 and expected to arrive this year. Valued between $75 and $78 million, it pushes the definition of private flight to the edge of science fiction. 5 separate living zones, a suite with an airborne shower, Pearl 700 engines tuned for silence and speed, 7,750 nautical miles of non-stop range. In every sense, it's a spacecraft that just happens to stay inside the atmosphere. But the most revealing details aren't mechanical. They're human. Leaked reports from NetJets, the company that manages parts of Musk's aviation logistics, describe him as an intensely private traveler. No small talk, minimal interaction. Pilots instructed to fly fast, minimize announcements, and keep communications technical. Musk treats air travel as an extension of his workflow, not as a break from it. The sky is where he shifts from CEO to systems architect, from public figure to private strategist. Family logistics add another layer. With 14 children across multiple households, even simple travel can become an operation in discretion. For that, the G650ER becomes more than a jet. It's a sanctuary in motion, a way to move between worlds without the chaos of commercial terminals or the intrusion of paparazzi lenses. It's where private life survives in a world that no longer respects privacy. In early 2025, flight logs revealed a particularly mysterious trip. The G650ER left Texas under a temporary PIA registration, landed in a remote corner of British Columbia, and continued by helicopter to an undisclosed property near Bella Coola. Speculation connected the site to James Murdoch, a Tesla board member. The purpose remains unconfirmed, but the pattern fits Musk's style. Critical meetings off-grid, quiet settings for loud ideas. All this secrecy, of course, has a cost measured in carbon. Musk's fleet emitted nearly 4,000 metric tons of CO2 in 2024 alone, the equivalent of hundreds of average Americans. Critics call it hypocrisy, the climate advocate flying on fossil fuels. But context matters. For Musk, these aircraft aren't toys. They're the infrastructure that holds a distributed empire together, a system that can't be run by Zoom calls and emails alone. Rockets, factories, neural implants, they all require proximity. The jets provide that proximity at the speed of relevance. This is where the story stops being about planes and starts being about power. These aircraft don't just move Musk, they move the machinery of innovation. They're the connective tissue between Tesla in Austin, SpaceX in Boca Chica, Neuralink in Fremont, and political circles in Washington. The Gulfstreams are, in a literal sense, the veins of his empire. Without them, the system collapses under its own scale. But there's still that contradiction. How do you preach sustainability while living above the clouds? Musk would argue that the short-term emissions fund long-term solutions, rockets that reuse fuel, cars that electrify fleets, and batteries that decarbonize grids. The carbon, he might say, is an investment in the future's efficiency. It's a cold, utilitarian logic, one that fits perfectly within his worldview of physics before feelings. At Frostline Economics, we see this less as hypocrisy and more as incentive mechanics. When your time is worth millions per hour, efficiency isn't luxury, it's obligation. Every minute saved in the sky multiplies down the supply chain. The math of wealth is always exponential. Still, the optics matter. In the age of open data, every emission is a headline. Every flight becomes a tweet. And in that sense, Musk's greatest challenge isn't sustainability, it's visibility. His jets are mirrors reflecting not just who he is, but what the world demands from him. Movement, spectacle, progress, and paradox. If you've made it this far into the story, take a second to subscribe and like this video. It helps more people find deep data-backed storytelling without the noise. It also tells the algorithm that not everyone wants fast outrage. They want smart analysis. That's what keeps Frostline alive. The golden throne in the world of power. How you move tells the story of who you are. For some, travel is an act of disappearance. For others, it's an act of performance. If Elon Musk's flights are designed to escape attention, Donald Trump's journeys are designed to create it. His vehicles don't just move him from place to place. They move the spotlight itself. Welcome to Frostline Economics. We follow incentives, not slogans. And if you're new here, hit subscribe and like. It helps us keep producing deep, no fluff investigations into how power behaves when it thinks no one's watching. Trump's relationship with luxury transportation didn't start in the White House. It started decades earlier, in the rarefied world of Manhattan real estate and inherited expectations. In the 1950s, The Trump family owned a 1956 Rolls-Royce Silver Cloud, a vehicle that wasn't just about travel, it was about identity. Even as a young man, Donald absorbed that message. Movement should announce status. By the 1980s, his empire and ego grew in parallel. The cars got louder, the helicopters flashier, the branding bolder. He bought Cadillacs, custom limousines, and helicopters that turned commuting into spectacle. His Sikorsky S-61 and Eurocopter weren't simply aircraft, they were camera-ready extensions of his personality. Trump understood something that most billionaires didn't. Visibility is its own form of currency. While Musk built rockets to escape gravity, Trump built aircraft to command attention. In 1989, he launched the Trump Shuttle, a short-lived airline featuring 17 Boeing 727s coated in gold fixtures and ambition. The idea was audacious, turn a mundane shuttle route into a flying luxury experience. But economics, not ego, won the battle. Within 3 years, the airline collapsed under debt. Yet the experiment revealed the pattern that would define Trump forever. Failure doesn't end the show. It becomes part of the brand. Through the 1990s and 2000s, his transportation choices mirrored his evolution from businessman to celebrity. Supercars joined the fleet, Lamborghinis, Ferraris, a McLaren SLR. They weren't meant for subtlety. They were meant to roar. His vehicles weren't instruments of privacy. They were amplifiers of presence. Every door that opened was another chance for a camera flash. Every engine rev was a press release. Then came the aircraft that would make him iconic. The Boeing 727 retrofitted as the original Trump Force One, with gold-plated interiors, a private bedroom and onboard theater. It was less a plane and more a palace in motion. It wasn't about efficiency. It was about mythology. The jet told the world what Trump wanted them to believe, that he was too big for the ground. In 2011, he upgraded to a Boeing 757, once owned by Microsoft co-founder Paul Allen. This was the aircraft that would follow him into politics. 43 seats, Italian leather, 24-karat gold seatbelt buckles, and an entertainment system better than most homes. He flew it to campaign rallies, parking it behind the podium like a co-star. While Musk's jets were invisible tools, Trump's were billboards. Every flight was a press event. Every landing, a headline. During his first presidency, Trump's travel world collided with official power. He gained access to Air Force One, a Boeing 747 built for presidents, complete with defensive systems, encrypted communication, and unmistakable blue and white paint that screams authority. Ironically, this level of visibility made secrecy impossible. Where Musk avoids the public eye, Trump operates inside it. His idea of control isn't invisibility, it's dominance. On the ground, he traveled in the Beast, a heavily armored Cadillac limousine costing nearly $20 million. Bulletproof glass, independent oxygen supply, and enough armor to survive a rocket attack. The car is a fortress wrapped in patriotism, yet still undeniably Trumpian. Massive, loud, unapologetic. Even as a public servant, he never stopped moving like a brand. After leaving office in 2021, Trump restored his personal 757, refurbishing it to its former glory just in time for his political comeback. The gold accents returned, the logos glowed brighter. For him, travel wasn't logistics, it was theater. Every rally became an air show, every landing a cinematic entrance. When the door opened and the cameras rolled, it wasn't just Donald Trump stepping out. It was the idea of Trump taking flight again. But nothing in his story stays static for long. In 2025, Qatar gifted him a Boeing 747-8 worth between $200 and $400 million. The gesture triggered immediate controversy. A foreign nation giving such an extravagant present to an American president sparked questions of influence and ethics. Reports suggest Trump plans to spend up to $1 billion modifying it, potentially turning it into a new Air Force One, an upgrade wrapped in political fire. Critics saw corruption. Supporters saw symbolism. Either way, the aircraft became a monument to Trump's paradox, a man who sees no boundary between personal luxury and public office. For him, prestige is policy. The plane isn't just transportation, it's narrative infrastructure. The numbers behind his travel tell another story. During the early months of his second term, Trump made 99 visits to his properties in 100 days, including 62 golf outings. That's a 37% increase from his first term. The message was clear. Even with access to the world's most powerful transportation network, Trump still preferred to move within his own branded orbit. Power for him isn't about secrecy, it's about sovereignty. Every vehicle he touches bears the same signature: gold-plated fixtures, deep leather, and excess turned into iconography. From helicopters on The Apprentice to the private jets parked near campaign podiums, his travel aesthetic is both nostalgic and loud. It's wealth as performance art. Even the Trump Princess, a luxury yacht he owned in the 1980s, fit the pattern perfectly. Docked near his casinos, it wasn't just a pleasure craft. It was a marketing tool, an extension of the casino's promise of glamour and risk. The sea, the sky, the road, every surface became a stage. During his presidency, travel costs ballooned. Estimates suggest taxpayers spent between $26 and $56 million on golf-related trips in early 2025 alone. Much of that money flowed back into his own resorts through security costs and logistics. Critics saw exploitation. Trump saw synergy. To him, business and government were simply two seats in the same vehicle. It's easy to dismiss this as vanity, but there's method inside the glitter. Trump's approach to transportation reveals a philosophy: control the image and you control the story. Where Musk uses data and secrecy, Trump uses scale and spectacle. The private jet isn't hidden from view, it becomes the view. When we step back, the contrast between Musk and Trump becomes almost architectural. Musk's aircraft are designed for silence and precision, tools of logistics and secrecy. Trump's vehicles are temples of gold and noise, instruments of performance. One builds a fortress to disappear, the other builds a throne to be seen. At Frostline Economics, we see these not as opposites, but as different investments in the same market. Attention. Both men understand that in the modern age, visibility is a form of currency. The difference lies in how they spend it. Musk spends to hide. Trump spends to shine. Each has built a mobility empire designed to serve their brand of power. If you're enjoying this deep dive, make sure to subscribe and hit like. It helps us keep cutting through the noise to bring you the real mechanics of influence. When you support independent analysis, you're voting for depth over distraction. Trump's evolution from cars to jets to presidential aircraft is more than a biography of wealth. It's a timeline of how image engineering works at scale. Every upgrade tells the same story. The man never wanted to disappear. He wanted to be the horizon itself. The golden throne isn't just a symbol of excess. It's a mirror reflecting how the modern elite manage visibility as power. Musk hides to operate. Trump performs to dominate. Both methods cost billions. Both reveal the same truth. In the 21st century, even the act of travel has become a performance of ideology. At Frostline Economics, we measure power not just in dollars or rockets, but in how people move when they believe the world belongs to them. The human shield. When the wheels of Elon Musk's Gulfstream touch the runway, the flight may be over, but the operation is just beginning. The same man who sends rockets beyond the atmosphere now moves through earthbound cities surrounded by a choreography of silence, precision, and paranoia. The Sky Fortress descends, and the human shield activates. Welcome. Just a few years ago, Musk's personal protection detail consisted of 2 bodyguards: close, discreet, professional. Today, that number has grown to as many as 20 highly trained operatives, some armed, some specialized in reconnaissance, all coordinated like a miniature secret service. They call him by a code name, Voyager. Every movement, every entry, every route is planned with military discipline. Musk doesn't walk through airports anymore. He moves through protocols. This transformation didn't happen by accident. It's the result of escalation. The threats multiplied. Stalkers, extortion attempts, deepfakes, drone surveillance, and an increasingly polarized audience that treats Musk as both messiah and menace. When your decisions can move markets or provoke governments, risk management becomes a full-time occupation. The Musk security machine operates on 3 principles: unpredictability, visibility control, and total synchronization. Before he steps into any building, his team performs what's called an advanced sweep. They analyze floor plans, identify exit points, evaluate potential threats, and establish layered routes for escape. In major events, decoy vehicles run parallel paths while others block cameras or drones attempting to tail the convoy. Every second of Musk's public life has a silent infrastructure beneath it. The human factor of this operation is what makes it remarkable. His bodyguards aren't just muscle. Many are former intelligence or military specialists, trained not just to defend but to anticipate. They use encrypted communications, tactical drones, and facial recognition software integrated into their earpieces. Each team member knows their sector, the flanks, the crowd zones, the choke points. Together, they form an invisible geometry of protection. But here's the twist. Some of these operatives now hold real federal authority. In 2025, select members of Musk's team were officially deputized by the United States Marshal Service. That means they carry federal credentials, can make arrests, and possess cross-state weapons rights that ordinary citizens cannot. It's a new frontier in the privatization of security, one man's personal guard partially, merged with the authority of the U.S. government. It blurs the line between corporate power and state power in ways that historians will still be debating decades from now. The cost of this operation reflects its scope. In 2023 alone, Musk spent over $2.4 million on security, more than most Americans will earn in a lifetime. And that figure has only increased since then. The budget covers not just personnel, but surveillance technology, encrypted communication systems, drones, armored vehicles, and 24-hour command oversight. There are backup generators for blackout scenarios, biometric locks for all travel residences, and independent emergency medical capacity for high-risk events. In the Musk ecosystem, safety is scaled like a product line. An insider once described it simply, "He travels like a head of state, but he pays for it himself." And that's not an exaggeration. His movements have the same choreography you'd expect from presidential protection units: staggered departures, vehicle rotation, and coded language over encrypted channels. The term Voyager is used in place of his real name across all transmissions. Even the simplest phrase, "Voyager is mobile," carries layers of pre-cleared meaning understood only by his team. It's less bodyguard work, more logistics of survival. The scope extends beyond Musk himself. His sprawling family, 14 children, multiple homes, high-profile partners, creates a logistical challenge that would overwhelm most governments. Each relocation or family visit triggers an operation involving armored convoys, decoy routes, and air surveillance countermeasures. Even private family trips require pre-cleared routes and temporary safe houses coordinated with local authorities. It's not paranoia, it's protocol. Among the most fascinating elements of his ground operation is his use of armored Tesla vehicles, particularly the Cybertruck. What started as a polarizing prototype has become the backbone of his security convoys. Outfitted with ballistic protection, reinforced glass, and electronic countermeasures, these Cybertrucks function as near-silent mobile fortresses. The instant torque of their electric engines allows for rapid acceleration in emergencies, escape velocity on asphalt, reports from international events have described convoys of these stainless steel vehicles forming tight formations around Musk as he moves through airports and industrial sites. The visual impact is cinematic, gleaming angular silhouettes reflecting the world's flashbulbs back at itself. They are, in essence, the physical manifestation of Musk's entire philosophy: protection through technology, intimidation through design. In early 2025, Cybertruck convoys were even spotted in Qatar, deployed to escort SpaceX and Tesla executives during high-level meetings. Their bullet-resistant exoskeletons, combined with near-silent operation, made them perfect for stealth movement through dense areas. It's a glimpse into how Musk's own inventions feed back into his personal security infrastructure, his products literally protecting his life. But even the best armor can't protect against scrutiny. In mid-2025, the U.S. State Department temporarily paused a $400 million contract for armored Tesla vehicles after questions arose about Musk's advisory role in the Trump administration. The optics were complicated: a private citizen helping shape policy while selling protection to the government. The contract is under review, but the message is clear. When private innovation collides with public authority, the firewall between business and governance starts to melt. Inside Musk's convoys, the details border on science fiction. The vehicles are equipped with EMP shielding, drone jammers, and real-time biometric feeds linked to central command. Every route is plotted with redundancy. Every detour has a coded name. Every stop is timed to the second. When Musk travels with his children, the tone changes, still disciplined, but softened by precautionary redundancy, extra vehicles, backup communications, and child-specific protocols designed to minimize exposure. Safety meets family logistics, and beneath all of this metal and motion there's another dimension, the underground one. Musk's Boring Company tunnels, currently operating in limited capacity in Las Vegas, represent a glimpse of future movement infrastructure. Imagine traveling through silent tubes under cities, bypassing traffic, paparazzi, and surveillance altogether. For the general public, it's a novelty. For Musk, it's a prototype for true invisibility. The tunnels provide something no aircraft or armored vehicle can: total visual absence. Underground, there are no satellites, no drones, no camera lenses waiting at intersections. It's transportation as concealment. Musk's dream of connecting urban hubs with high-speed vacuum tunnels doubles as a vision of the ultimate privacy network, mobility as secrecy. For a man hunted by attention, it's the perfect symmetry. Technology used not to be seen, but to vanish efficiently. Yet for all this sophistication, one reality remains. In the digital age, no one can be truly invisible. Every tunnel has a camera, every jet has a transponder, every convoy leaves a shadow. The modern world is built to watch. Musk isn't escaping surveillance, he's outpacing it. The ethics of this model are complex. What does it mean when a private individual builds a security apparatus that rivals state-level protection? When private guards gain federal powers, armored vehicles replace police escorts and underground tunnels replace public roads. At Frostline Economics, we call it the sovereignty paradox. The more capable private citizens become, the more blurred the definition of government grows. For Musk, the goal isn't isolation, it's autonomy. He isn't hiding from society. He's trying to operate outside its noise. The same man who builds rockets to reach Mars also builds tunnels to avoid Los Angeles traffic. Both projects are attempts to escape friction, whether gravitational, bureaucratic, or social. Privacy for him isn't luxury, it's infrastructure. But the cost of that infrastructure is staggering. Every new layer of protection adds new layers of distance between him and his employees, between him and the public, even between him and his own myth. The man who promised open innovation now lives inside one of the most sophisticated personal security bubbles on Earth. The very systems that make him free also make him unreachable. This is the trade-off of modern genius. Exposure powers influence, but too much exposure destroys it. To remain effective, Musk must remain visible enough to inspire, yet hidden enough to survive. His bodyguards, his convoys, his tunnels, all of it is an algorithm designed to balance that tension. If this breakdown gives you a clearer view of how modern power protects itself, subscribe and like this video. It helps more people find grounded analysis instead of gossip, and it keeps this channel free from sponsorships and bias. The human shield isn't just the men with earpieces or the Cybertrucks in formation. It's an entire ecosystem built to keep one man's ideas moving faster than the world's attention span. In that sense, Musk's security isn't just personal, it's philosophical. It's the architecture of control in an age that monetizes exposure. And as the world keeps watching, he'll keep building new ways to disappear, not because he wants to hide from us, but because the system we built won't let him stand still. This is Frostline Economics. We follow incentives, not slogans. We measure the hidden machinery that keeps the powerful in motion, and the rest of us wondering how far we'll go to feel safe. If you learned something new today, hit like, subscribe, and share this video. It helps real analysis reach beyond algorithms and into the conversations that actually matter. Stay curious, stay critical, and stay tuned.